The company has got very bold objectives and ambitions in terms of volume and product, and also product competitiveness, and that's always driven by design. That's the starting point for any product. So, the whole investment here, the $1.5 million, was basically to improve the facility and the resources that we have in the UK studio. And the USP, as I mentioned before, for the UK is basically being in an area where there's real creativity. I mean, the UK is very much a cultural center, not only for the MG brand, but design in general. So for us being here, that really gives the company a global overview. The products that we sell, even though they're primarily sold in China, we now sell in 42 countries globally. And that list is constantly expanding, over the next sort of 10 years. And our products have to be competitive in China. And China is just as competitive as anywhere. So by having a European design center, that makes our design competitive. So the $1.5 million, we've doubled the studio. We've got now 4 or 5 plates, basically full size. We've got a 5-axis milling machine on the site, which before we had to outsource. So we lost a lot of time and money. So now we can do that all in-house, and it just gives us the opportunity to refine the design of the cars. We've already hired, I think, around 14 people since the last sort of year and a bit. And we're, just like we doubled the size of the studio, we need to increase the head count of the team, and we're in the process of adding new people across all the disciplines, whether it's design, clay, digital. And we need to not only fill the space, but justify the investment, and that justification should be represented in the design quality that we produce.
Well, basically we have to look at the target customer, we look at the location of market. So the fact that Rovi is purely for China really shapes the target customer. MG is our global brand. It has a long heritage of certain types of products and also British culture. So to a very large degree the brand values are quite different, and also our products don't have a huge amount of crossover either. So we have platform engineering, but we'll do different body styles, different brands, etc., etc. We believe that defining a design through styling and through character and through technology and through progression is a very important aspect. So it goes back to the standing out. We believe that an MG customer will want to make a bit of a statement, so they would appreciate some of the progressive and sporty dynamic of an MG product, basically. So that's why we've got this kind of more dynamic feel to a mainstream product, let's say. But the difference between, say, an SUV and a sedan car is that we can have a little bit more fun. We can say stronger things, basically, which then can filter down into our mainstream programs as well.
We want to have a portfolio of products that complement each other, offer something different to different demographics. Both are sold next to each other in China. MG products are obviously sold globally, but both have to be competitive products, in terms of design quality, and generally the performance of the product. So, we're under the microscope like any product that's on the marketplace. But design quality is the message there. I mean, do you understand the brief? Do you understand the brand of the product? Does that transfer into the exterior design, into the interior design, and then of course right down to the last detail, whether it's the lamps, the grille, tactility on the interior, materials, graining, all of that. And that has to be consistent. That message, that brand message, has to be applied to every dimension and every level of design. It's like an onion. You keep peeling it, peeling it, peeling it. It's still an onion inside, but that together, gives it the sort of strength and a clear message.
Rovi is a premium Chinese brand, still relatively new too, but its fundamental target was a more mature customer with a focus on technology, a kind of warm feel. If you're familiar with Rovi 550, quite a warm overall design direction. And then the sporty and the British heritage coming into MG, more kind of digital, a little bit more direct, a little bit more sporty is the differentiation between the brands, basically. I
really want this studio and SAIC design in general to really be actually a leader in design, where our contemporaries and our colleagues in other companies are basically looking to us of what we're always doing next. So I mean, it's a long-term project, and it's a culture you have to build, in terms of a design organization. So now we've invested sort of this last year has been, building the base, the foundation, and we have a foundation in terms of a portfolio of products. The next step now that we're going to start designing the next generation of products is actually bring this sort of culture and almost a religion into both brands, and that should seep through all the people in the design organization, the designers, the clay modelers, the digital, everybody has to be sort of almost seeped into this methodology. And that's the sort of long-term goal. I mean, there's no substitute for pure design. I mean, and ultimately that's what I want associated with these two brands is, not only timeless, good design, but also sort of almost leaders in design. If you look at the core values of what MG is, it's an effortless, stress-free, accessible brand. And I think this really fits into just the sort of also car design trend that we have right now, which is, people have their phone, they put the picture of their girlfriend, their kids, the dog, they make their products, their day-to-day products, their own. We need to apply that sort of philosophy to a car. And the MG3 is a perfect example of that. It's a t-shirt, and you can pretty much put any saying on the t-shirt, and it might be just the thing you want to say that day, or it might be your sort of life philosophy. But in general, I think it's a perfect product as that palette.
There's actually a big following in China for MG already. So there's car owners clubs, and there's very regular meets with, say, MG6s and whatever other product is there. So there's that very tribal aspect. It's already in place for MG. It's a brand people love. It's a brand people are becoming familiar with, and it's progressive in its thinking. It's very youthful as well. So we have to deal with all those aspects. What I believe MG needs to do is focus on high design value. So it needs to stand out. It needs to be its own character. And the trick is to make sure that that character is appropriate for its markets. And we believe that the kind of British feel of the brand is actually steeped in the fact that British products tend to be quite exclusive, tend to be quite high-end. So we want to focus on that aspect because we believe it can give the customer a really strong message about our product.
We did a lot of internal brainstorming about the brands, and we did a lot of cultural research about what is Britain, what is British design as a whole, but what is British design from a car point of view, the history of MG, the highs, the lows, the company's reinvented itself, endless times. And we did these sort of workshops, and a lot of it is just cultural insight. And this idea of this sort of personalization and these cultural graphics that really reference, where the car is from and what it wants to be. That was kind of born out of these sort of workshops, and all of a sudden we realized, this has got something that we can really spread across this product, but also just spread across the range at different levels. Obviously, as you go up the range becomes more conservative, more sophisticated, but it'll be toned down a little bit to each product, but depending on the product's personality. But fundamentally, I think this is a pillar for what MG should be.